What's up everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm Jag from Jag's Watches, and in today's video we're looking at Watches and Wonders 2025 and reacting to the new predictions and the new releases for this year. A lot of videos have been already made on this matter, but I just wanted to share my reactions to the new releases, and there's so many of them. But before we get into it, this is a watch channel that doesn't take itself too seriously, so if you love watching watch related content and videos on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe. We're trying to get to 500 subscribers. So, less than 2 months to go. That's all we have before the biggest watch event of the year, and Watches and Wonders Geneva 2025. And you know what that means: speculation, predictions, and a whole lot of excitement, especially because there's so many anniversaries, special anniversaries for Rolex, for AP. Today I'll bring you my Rolex predictions because there's so many Rolex predictions, as you can imagine. A lot of people only really care about Rolex. So we'll start off with Rolex. GMT-Master II, the 70th anniversary. Now, as a result of this, people are speculating about a platinum blueberry variation. And I don't know, I like the look of this. I think they definitely will bring out a special GMT. Whether it's this one or not, I'm not sure, but there's a stunning two-tone blue bezel with this particular blueberry GMT, which I think looks great. And if it's available on Jubilee and Oyster, I think having the Jubilee on this would give it that extra oomph. But if it is in platinum, it's going to be a heavy watch. And I don't know if you've ever felt the platinum day date before. I've managed to get my hands on one in the past, and they're very heavy watches. So it'll be interesting to see if they do end up going for the platinum material for this one. And then, of course, a lot of speculation about the GMT2 Coke in white gold. I would love for them to bring back this Coke in a steel variant, because for me, looking at the Coke and looking at the Pepsi, I prefer the black and red bezel compared to the blue and red bezel. But if they do bring this out in a white gold variant, that again would be a very special watch for a special anniversary. So very interesting, and it'll be interesting to see what they end up doing. Just imagine if none of them come out and we're just looking and speculating about absolutely nothing that will come true. But yeah, two very interesting GMTs there. Also want to mention the Sprite. As you know, that's a left-handed, the current one is a left-handed Sprite, so you're supposed to wear it on the right hand. Don't know how many people do that, but there's a lot of speculation as well on the Sprite being a right-handed, and then releasing a right-handed Sprite, so wearing it on the left hand. I don't know whether they'll do that. If they end up doing that, they might actually end up discontinuing the original Sprite. So let me know if you think that that's one that would end up being released. I think it makes sense. I think the fact that they've had so much success with that original Sprite, creating a right-handed Sprite would be a good idea. But out of those three GMTs, which one would you want to see the most? Personally, I would love to see the Coke brought back in a steel variant. Again, I'm guessing that would be impossible to get hold of, so I don't know why I care so much. I don't think I'd be able to get my hands on any of them, but the blueberry variant would be very nice as well. So moving on from the GMTs, stone dials, there's a lot of speculation about certain watches, especially in the 1908 lineup for Rolex. A lot of variants in stone dials. We haven't seen many stone dials, especially the onyx dials. It'll be great to see that whole vintage aesthetic brought back in the 1908 lineup. A lot of sort of interesting images being brought to surface there, as you can see, and I think it'll be very cool to get your hands on one of these, especially if they do go for these very cool kind of stone dials that you can see. Originally, you tend to see the stone dials in the day dates, but if they did bring them in the 1908 lineup, that would be very cool to see. A dressier version. I know day dates, of course, are dress watches, but the 1908 has a classic aesthetic about it, so I think it would really suit that lineup. And then we're talking about titanium. So we've seen titanium used in the Deep Sea Challenge. We've seen the titanium used in the Yachtmaster, which is really difficult to get hold of. I don't think they make many of them. But there is a rumor of titanium being used in the Sea Dweller, the 43mm. So I don't see why this may not happen. Your matte dial, brushed ceramic bezel, titanium case. I think it's because it's such a heavy watch. Making it in titanium makes it a little bit more practical, maybe a bit more of a practical tool watch. So I don't see why that can't happen. There is rumor of a 37mm Submariner coming out. Interesting, because I know that smaller sized case diameter watches are certainly in trend at the moment. I tried on the 41mm Submariner recently, and I do think it's a little bit big for my wrists. Could definitely get used to it, but a 37mm Submariner would be interesting, and I guess it would make it a little bit more unisex for the females to want to wear it with the smaller wrists. And even if you're like me, I have 6 3/4 inch wrists, and I think a 37mm Submariner would definitely tempt me. So that would be quite interesting to see. Also, going on to one of my favorite Rolexes, the Rolex Explorer 1, there is a rumor of there being a polar, a white dialed version of this, and a two-tone version of this as well. For me personally, I think that this looks amazing. The white dial, I need a white dial watch in my collection, and I think it suits the Explorer perfectly. I love the black dial variant, but this white dial, it looks really nice. There's also quite a lot of speculation about the Explorer 1 in the two-tone yellow gold or rose gold. I think that looks great as well, but this white dial Explorer 40 36mm I think would do really well. It will be one that would be sought after for sure. Whether I prefer the black or the white, I don't know, but if they do end up releasing a white faced Explorer, then this would be very tempting, because this is one of the Rolexes that I would personally want to go for. I haven't got a Rolex in the collection at the moment, but it's one that I feel is it's in the top 3 for me right now. So if this white dial did come out, it would definitely put a spanner in the works. Now, we've talked enough about Rolex. I do love Rolex, but I love a lot of other brands as well. So we want to talk about Omega. Several things been talked about here, but it's no real surprise that there's new releases for Omega. They tend to release a new variant of the Seamaster, the Speedmaster every single month, but the Dark Side of the Moon revamp, a slimmer and updated movement variation potentially for that one. Seamaster 300 Heritage model, you know that I love the 90s Seamasters, and there's potential for them to go back to that original 40mm slim case, aluminium bezel, which we know that they've started to do, especially with the No Time to Die variant. You're seeing the green face. They recently came out with the red bezel and the bronze gold version. It would be great to see a sort of a modern take on the 90s Seamasters, because for me, that's my favorite. You've seen the GoldenEye version that I've got in my previous video, so that would be an amazing release. The Ploprof Titanium Edition. I don't know if you're a fan of the Ploprof. Definitely a very divisive model. Interesting. Not for me. I have small wrists. I don't think it'll look great on me. Moving over to Patek. I think Patek are moving away from the steel variants, unfortunately. They have discontinued so many models this year, so it'll be interesting to see what they announce. I think they're going to go towards more of a precious metal, white gold, rose gold, yellow gold. It would hurt me if they don't bring out a new steel version line. But again, from what I've watched, from a lot of the things I've seen on the internet, they seem to be moving away from steel variants. They don't want to be in competition in steel variants. They want to branch out and put themselves in a completely different echelon, a completely different level where it's just all precious metal. And I get it. It's Patek. It makes sense. But what would I want to see? A new Nautilus variant for sure, because there's been discontinued there. I feel like we will see a new Nautilus, whether it's in steel or not. It's still, we have to wait and see. A Calatrava with sporty elements. I feel like the Calatrava range hasn't been touched in a while, and just seeing a sportier version of a Patek would be great. Perpetual calendar updates, more contemporary dial layouts or case material changes. A lot to see, a lot to... Hopefully, I know the Nautilus range wasn't great. Oh, sorry, not the Nautilus range. The Cubitus range wasn't really received very well. I am a fan of the green dial Cubitus. I don't think they're ugly. I think they're actually very nice watches, but it'll be interesting to see what we see from Patek. AP, of course, there's an anniversary there, so we'll probably see some Royal Oak chronograph updates, new materials like ceramic and titanium, the offshore with maybe some more new complications. Tudor, I would love to see the Ranger in new dial colors. I think the Ranger is a Tudor which is very underrated. It reminds me of the Rolex Explorer. I'm a Tudor fan. I'd love to see maybe some additions to the Black Bay family in Black Bay 58 GMT, Pelagos FXD chronograph, maybe expanding there with their tool line range. But for specifically what I would love to see is variations in the Ranger lineup, because as I said, I think that's a watch which is very underrated, and let me know what you think about the Tudor Ranger. Then, of course, we've got Vacheron Constantin, the Overseas Perpetual Calendar Titanium, a lightweight version for the luxury sports segment. It would be great to see new variants of that, and loads of speculation for 2025. So what do we think? So many predictions for 2025. Watches and Wonders only a couple of months away. How many of these predictions are going to come true? Let me know in the comments if there's certain predictions I've missed out. I would love to know. But it'll be interesting to see actually how many of these rumors are true. It'll be hilarious if none of these rumors, none of these predictions end up coming true. I think the things that I'm really looking forward to is the GMT, seeing what Rolex do with that, whether they maybe discontinue the Sprite, come out with a right-handed Sprite, the Coke, whether they reintroduce the Coke lineup, and also this blueberry bezel version, the platinum for the anniversary. It'll be interesting to see. But for me, if they come out with the polar dial for the Rolex Explorer 1, that would be amazing. I would love to see that in person. I would be really interested to get hold of one of those. Apart from that, it's hard to stay excited with Omega because they always seem to be releasing new watches every month. Tudor, as I've mentioned, with the Ranger lineup, it would be great to see an updated movement in that, but just variations in dial, maybe even material, getting a titanium steel, even a rose gold or something along those lines with Tudor, and just seeing a variation in the Black Bay lineup as well. But as usual, if you've enjoyed this video, make sure you like and subscribe. I've been Jag from Jags Watches, and remember, timing is everything. Peace.